And good morning to everyone. It's another Wednesday word from the pastor. And what I thought I would do today is to talk about a topic that sometimes comes into my mind, and I thought I would try to express it this morning. It's a thought about heroes. What do we think of when we think of heroes? Who do we think of when we think of heroes? Depending, you ask some people, their heroes are the some rock stars or music video stars or athletes or whatever. Um, but for me, the thought of being a hero means someone who has not just used the God given gift for themselves, but someone who uses that gift in an extraordinary way to benefit, in a very serious way, the lives of others, and have a positive impact on the life of others. Heroes can be any age, any culture, any faith, it's a matter of extending themselves on behalf of someone other than themselves. To do away with the thought of self-gratification and self-satisfaction in today's society, where me comes still first at the expense of other. My thought was, I was thinking of Don Bosco, and in the time of plague in Turin, he invited his boys to help out where they could. And just about all of them, all of his boys, they were these street kids that took the time to go out into the city in the midst of a plague that was afflicting everyone. At a fearful time in the life of the city, they put their fears aside to benefit others, to help the sick, to pick up those who are dropping in the streets, to go into the homes of those plague victims. And at the end, when all was said and done, not one of his boys got sick. Not one of his boys was devastated by the plague that hit the city at that particular time. And I'm thinking how many of these boys put their trust and faith in God and in Don Bosco, and through Don Bosco in Mary, the help of Christians. I think they were heroes in their own right. Without thinking about themselves, went out and put their lives at risk for the sake of others. We see that constantly and through many. I wonder how many of us, if we got to some of the phone calls that we receive here in the church, I think there are many of you that would drop what you were doing to do what you could to make someone's life better, whether it be someone in need of comforting. I think there are many of you who are heroes in your own right that would drop what you're doing to help others. And if you don't, if you might not, if you haven't done so, you have an opportunity to do so every day. If you just open our eyes and look around us, if we open our ears and we listen with ears of faith, we open our hearts with heart, and let our hearts become hearts of faith, and we open our hands to become hands which perform deeds for those others outside of ourselves who need to have good deeds done for them. Heroes are of every mixture, whether they be young, whether they be not so young, whether they be everybody in between. We're called to look at hero. This time of Lent challenges us to look into our life and to see the hero that's in each of us, and to allow that hero to come out, to put behind us our own needs, our own wants, our own desires, and find out what the needs and the hopes and desires are of the people around us, and try to respond to them, putting ourselves last instead of first. It flies in the face of what our society tells us we should be doing. It goes against common sense sometimes to put ourselves last, because then who's going to be looking out for us? We don't worry about that. Heroes don't worry about that. They see a need, an extraordinary time, and they respond to it. May we, during this Lenten season, look into our own life, challenge ourselves, see what our weaknesses are and what our strengths are, and maybe those untapped strength needs to be tapped, needs to be put into action, needs to be put into service, at the service of others. Whether it be taking care of the hungry, whether it be taking care of showing our care for the homeless, whether it be looking into our own families and seeing people who are hurting and responding with comfort, with nurturing, with aid, whether it be looking at our classmates if we're at school and saying, who there needs my help? What can I do to help and to make someone's life better because I've become a part of it? This is a constant theme in the gospel. It's a constant theme in the gospel this week about the transfiguration. Jesus showing himself, his own divinity to those three disciples so that they could be empowered to deal with the upcoming passion and death of himself. to be filled with hope in spite of their weakness, in spite of their sinfulness, and go out and to continue to witness to his good news courageously, living the gospel as we're challenged to do in our own mission statement here at Mary Help. May we be a people who aren't satisfied with just being done for, but become doers for other. And in so doing, may we bring out the hero, recognize the hero in ourselves, and share it with those around us. Not for the sake of being hero, but just for the sake, because we're answering the need where need shows itself. I see it constantly among us here with the response to the hungry. I see it in the response to people wanting to go out and to our Eucharistic ministers who go to the homes of those who need to have someone to bring Jesus to them every week. So we have this gift that's within each of us, and it's just a matter of striking the match, of being transformed ourselves. May we use this Lenten season as a time to transform ourselves into this better self, into this hero for Christ, of sharing and witnessing to the faith. Remember what we say, it's not just, people are more willing to follow leaders, witnesses, than they are teachers. And if they happen to follow a teacher, it's only because that teacher is a good witness. May we be good witnesses in what we say and what we do, and in so doing become heroes for Christ. God bless you all. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for us. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for you. God bless you all, and see you next week, hopefully.